A couple of weeks ago, I was lucky enough to play Tiny Towns, and without giving too much away, this was definitely one of the most clever and fun games that I've played in 2019. It's a very simple game, but extremely puzzly, quite brain burny, with even a little bit of interaction and fun back and forth built in. And I would say it kind of sits in the roll and write realm of games, in that extended family. It's not a roll and write, there's no dice, but the main mechanism is somewhat related to bingo, where somebody calls out a number and people mark those numbers off on their player sheets. In this game, each player is going to be calling out a resource. There's a number of different colored cubes, and you will call out that resource, and then everybody playing the game at the table is going to take one of those resource cubes. And the reason why you want these resource cubes is because you've got to combine different types and numbers of or quantities rather of resource cubes to construct the buildings in your 4x4 tiny town grid. And the reason why you want to build these buildings is because they'll score you victory points at the end of the game, and any unbuilt squares that you have will actually score you negative victory points. And there is actually a variant where you can use a kind of a reveal and write approach, or a reveal and build approach perhaps, where you're going to be drawing through a deck of cards and it'll tell you which resource you can take. But I actually really prefer the sort of bingo style where you're calling out different resources, mostly because you can kind of play a little bit of a meta game where you're screwing over the people you're playing with by calling the cubes you know that they don't want. And that just leads to some kind of funny interactive moments where people go sigh and sort of put their face in their hands because you picked a color of cube that they do not need and have no idea how to fit onto their board. So that's really fun. And the other thing that's really interesting in this game is the wooden building tokens correspond to different types of buildings. So they've got this deck of cards for buildings, and each time you play, you're going to be setting out a marketplace of available building cards, and those will be different each time you play. So if you look on the player grid here, in the top right corner, there's a building token that in one game might apply to a church, in another game it might apply to a cathedral or a different structure. And I'm just making generalizations there. That isn't exactly what that building represents, but it adds a really clever element of variability to the game each time you play, which is, for a game which is relatively short and in a small package, that's really clever and really nice. The way your buildings are connected on the board makes a difference. The type of mix of buildings you have will also make a difference. Some buildings operate on a more of a sort of push your luck level, whereby if you build more of them, if you build an even number, let's say, you will get positive points, but if you build a negative, or an odd number rather, you'll get negative points. So those are really clever touches that really impressed me in the design of this game. And in general, it's just a very slick and clever game. It's, so efficiently designed. There's no fat in the game, and it's easy to teach, easy to learn. I think it's something that will appeal across the board to non-gamers and sort of serious gamers alike, just because even for people who aren't really that into board games, maybe you want to play this game with your family, friends, etc., who aren't deep into board games, that kind of bingo mechanism will be familiar to them, and they'll figure that out very quickly, what you're trying to do in the game. So overall, I really, really enjoyed this game. There's even some special buildings that you get that kind of break the rules and work in different ways, which is really fun because you kind of get a slight hint of asymmetry in the game, which is, always a good thing. At least in my view, I love asymmetry in games and slightly different player powers. So yeah, I really can't wait for this one to come out in retail. Just to be clear, I didn't get a review copy of this game. I played somebody else's copy. Got no relationship with the publisher in this particular instance, but it's a really fun game. I'm definitely going to be checking this one out when it comes out in retail, and I recommend that if you like puzzle games, those kind of polyomino games, or roll and writes, this game could be really interesting for you. So check it out, Tiny Towns.